Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie. It is Tuesday, September 6th, and it's day 7 of the September series where I upload a video every single day. I am working right now. I'm on a tiny little break because the shortlist for the Booker Prize came out and I want to see it. I have not read a single book. I definitely wasn't planning on reading all of the shortlist even before the final winner comes out. But it's just still fun. It's really fun. Okay, short list. We got Glory, which I've heard some negative things about from a couple people. Chuckle Walker, 7 Moons of Mali Almadeh. Oh, William, The Trees, and Small Things Like These. Okay, cool. If you've been following Kai Knows How to Read, they've been reading a lot of the Booker long list. I think they read 8 of the 13, which is crazy. These books I feel like are probably big brain energy, and it's too big brain for me. Kai, I believe, liked The Trees the most out of the ones they read. So I'm very curious about that one. It's an unnerving murder mystery mixed with the powerful condemnation of racism and police violence. Sounds very intense. All right, I gotta get back to work, but I am listening to The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I'm on page 291, and I'm sure I'll finish this today so you can get my final opinion. If you didn't watch yesterday's vlog, I will link it down below, but I've had a complicated set of feelings for this book. I both enjoy it and am bored by it. We'll see how that changes as I continue. Guys, I finished Addie LaRue. I like the audiobook. Julia Whalen, her as Luke, I think I might have a crush. I like the ending, and Luke as a character in this. He's like the devil character, for those of you that don't know. I'm not gonna say any spoilers or anything, but I really liked him as a character. Like, anytime he was in a scene, that's when I was really paying attention. Him and Addie together and their interactions were very fascinating in a multiple amount of ways. And now I just want to read like a Kindle Unlimited fanfic of the two of them. I guess it's kind of like a, mythological story. So there are plenty of things I could read. So yeah, it is an objectively good book and a good story, but still the writing, it felt weighed down, and I lost a little patience with this, not even that far in, and it kind of did stay the same. Although I did notice that whenever something was happening that helped move the plot along, I did, I was a little bit more engaged, which is weird because usually there's a plane, hold on. Usually I don't give a crap about plot. Like, I'm here for the atmosphere, I'm here for the characters. But in this one I got frustrated. I was trying to put my finger on it. And I did notice a lot of repetition in words themselves. Like, things would be said like, I remember you, let's say. And the first time they're said, they're impactful. I'm like, oh, that's good. And then it's further explained, and then the line is repeated. That happened a lot in here, and it lost value. But also there was a lot of repetition in the ideas in here. So there would be a subtle theme or a subtle thought or an idea that is brought up, but then it's hit over the head with us because then we are taken through a situation where Addie has to learn this lesson. I don't know how to explain it, but it just felt with each repetition or with each extra explanation that it did lose a little bit of a power to the initial idea or interaction. That doesn't really make much sense if I'm not using specifics, but it is funny because there's a whole thing in here about names and how they're very powerful things and they hold power. And it turns out if you use a name or words too much, or even ideas, then they lose power. So I think that's kind of ironic, actually. I think I'm gonna give it a 3.5 because objectively it is good, but also Luke, I've heard some things about Luke and I always was like, he sounds evil. And not even in a hot way. And in the beginning, he was just this evil thing. And then, whoa, he was hot, okay? So another book down, one that's on my little list here. So now I have finished 2 books on this little graphic. For those of you that haven't really been following along, these are books that I've either started this year or that I put on my TBRs in the last 8 months that I haven't gotten to. And I'm hoping to, like, when I'm at a loss of what to read, try to focus on this, but without pressuring myself. But next, we're gonna continue on in a book that is not on there. I'm gonna continue with The Honeys. I started this in yesterday's vlog, and the first 6 pages, the first chapter, is just an entire scene of violence, which is just beautiful. This is about a boy named Mars, and his twin sister dies, and she went to this like prestigious summer academy thing. So now Mars is going to go in her place, or maybe to investigate. I'm still not sure why. I'm only 3 chapters in, so don't know these specifics. And at this place, we find out that Mars's sister had this friend group called the Honeys. This feels like the love child of Bunny and Summer Sons, which just excites me, but also scares me because it whenever something is really reminding you of something you liked, most of the time it lets you down. But the intensity of this so far has been really fun. There's a whole thing about here, I'm guessing you could tell by like the little bees on here and the title. There's like a beekeeping club at this summer academy, and actually in the first chapter, not a spoiler, Mars's sister tries to kill him with a bee tool, like a beekeeping tool, which I'll show you right here. It looks little creepy. The doctors found some sort of growth, like a tumor, in Mars's sister's head. So that was the cause of her trying to kill her brother, or so they say. But I think something creepy is afoot. So I'm gonna continue that. I'm so tired. I just had to have a coffee at 4 p.m., which I'll probably regret in a few hours, but I will see you very shortly. Guys, I think I'm actually gonna pivot from the Honeys. Not because it's doing anything wrong, it's still very good. I got to page 28, and I'm still fascinated by the potential of more violence. Also, how creepy this summer academy is gonna be. Mars just announced to his parents that he's gonna go in his sister's place. It sounds creepy just because like it's a rich person's summer camp, which is just, And then there's this weird secret society of the Honeys. It does sound like it's going to be possibly triggering for anyone dealing with gender trauma or, people who are being assholes about their gender identity, because Mars is gender fluid. And it sounds like something happened in his past of why he left Aspen Academy or whatever the fuck it's called. I did notice something that's possibly an editing mistake, which I'm a judgy bitch, so as soon as I see a typo or anything that seems like constructually wrong, that is not a word, I get kind of turned off from it, but I don't know if it is actually an error or if it's a part of the mystery. Mars says that something happened to him to make him leave Aspen Academy, and that his parents were always skeptical of the academy, and his sister had to beg to go back after this incident happened. But then not even 2 pages go by that Aspen says that his parents have always loved the academy and that they wanted him to go back, like tried to beg him. So it seemed like an editing mistake, honestly, but it could be some weird thing in the book. But it didn't seem like an important sentence. It seemed like a throwaway sentence, so I don't know what to think of it really, but it did kind of mixed with it is YA, and even though it is violent, which makes me want to read it, it is this very kind of like overwrought drama and poetic kind of angst tone, which definitely I can be in the mood for, especially if it is a violent book. I'm talking about like Mindy McGinnis, although she's kind of more curt and I kind of appreciate that. Anyway, I think I'm gonna pivot also because Addie LaRue got me in a little bit of a romance mood, and I kind of want a Luke character in a romance book, but I'm also scared of that because, the Hades Persephone thing, which I think he could most be comparable to because he's like a dark god. I feel like I've tried to read so many of them this year and they were kind of not my thing. However, I think romance in general will do it for me right now, and that brings me back to my Instagram poll. The other day I put a poll up on Instagram of what I should start first, and y'all voted for The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue first, and then in second place was The Seven Husbands of oh my god, I'm mixing up all of my books right now. 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I have honestly never heard anyone dislike this book, which gets me very excited. From what I understand, it's about 2 authors. She writes like vampire erotica, and people are either dismissive or they try to hold her in that genre. And then I think he must write something that is, more respected in the literary community. So I hope there's a conversation about genre and the respect of an author and the respect of a genre. I think that would be a very interesting conversation. They meet at a conference, and apparently, I think 15 years ago, they had a 7-day love affair. And since then, they've either been writing each other, like to each other in their books, or they've been basing their characters off each other. I don't know which one it is, but either one sounds effing good to me. So at this conference, I'm pretty sure, unless they go on like another retreat, I think they have another little 7 days in June, I'm guessing. I did start this. I think I got the audiobook from my library and I liked it so much I purchased it, but then, I never picked it up like all my other books. I got to page 14, and from there, I learned a couple things. Our main character's name is Eva. She's a single mom, and she's dealing with chronic illness, which isn't something that I knew about this book, so that'll be an interesting conversation as well. Let me know if you've read this and what you thought about it. No spoilers. And yes, I think I'm ready. I'm ready for some romance. Okay, wait. I think I'm gonna love this. I got to page 60 and I honestly had to stop because I started squealing, as you just heard. We get an insight into Eva's character, both as a mother, as a writer, as someone dealing with chronic illness, and as a friend to her editor Cece. And we also get a flashback of her growing up and the kind of shitty situation she was in with her mom and her mom's string of shitty boyfriends. We also have dual point of view, which I wasn't aware of, and we meet Shane. Shane is a award-winning novelist, and he is, I think it said 26 months sober. He's never written while sober. We find out he's really into trying to help the community wherever he goes. He tutors a bunch of rich kids in rich neighborhoods or something, but then he goes to the worst school in the county that he can find, and he tries to mentor a kid. And at the end of that chapter, we find out that he really messed up back in the day with some girl who, we all know it's Eva. So they get to the conference and she's on this panel and he just walks in and she's like, oh my God, because she hasn't seen him since the 12th grade. They start talking about their characters in each other's books and Eva is pissed. So I had to stop because I was like, oh my God, the banter I'm about to hear, but also the kind of anger and lust and adoration and, I am not ready for this. I feel like tomorrow I'm just gonna have to read it all. I like the tone of the writing. It's very character driven. So I already feel like I know Eva so well. We've gotten so much of her in just 60 pages and it's a great feeling because I feel like if we're already so close to Eva at this point, I can't even imagine how close we're going to get to her throughout this whole book. Also, the tone of it is very casual. So even the chapters are pretty fun and quick. So chapter 5 is called Fun Black Shit. And that's actually the chapter I ended on. It's the panel that they're on is a Black author event. And it's a great conversation about Black literature. And one of the panelists says that Black people are expected to write about trauma, oppression, and slavery because those are easily marketable Black tropes. Publishers struggle to see us as having the same banal, I never know if it's banal or banal, funny, whimsical experiences that every human has. And that's pretty interesting. And I hope that Eva will find power in her genre, because right now she keeps calling herself a silly author or a stupid author because she's writing vampire erotica. So I don't know if the author is going to go down that route of defending this genre. I feel like with the conversation that the panelists are having, I'm hoping that Eva comes to that conclusion, or maybe she doesn't enjoy it. Even so, I hope there's a moment where Eva can say that, it doesn't matter what she writes if she believes in it and if she as having fun, then it is important. It is valid. Anyway, before I go on too much longer, I'm gonna wrap it up. Today I read 277 pages, 221 from The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, only 10 pages in The Honeys, and then 46 pages in 7 Days in June. In total so far for the September series, I've read 1,509 pages, and I've finished 5 books now, which is great because I think that's as many books as I read in the entirety of August. If you've read any of these books or are looking forward to reading them, please let me know down below. I'm going to edit this video and get some sleep, but I will see you tomorrow.